Clearly, Archer is a character eagerly awaited by almost all Honkai Star Rail players. The main reason is that he will be given to all players for free, so we can all definitely use this cool character. Overall, Archer is a quantum type character with the hunt path that can deal daily single target attacks to enemies. He has a very unique kit, where he can continuously deal massive attacks to a single enemy target through his skills, as long as he has usable skill points. Another interesting point is that he is rumored to be a character that will be highly compatible with the upcoming support character focused on hypercarry DPS, Cerydra. So, without further ado, I'm Hoyo Station and we will dive into the ultimate guide for Archer in version 3.4. Let's do this. Do you have a character or weapon in the game that you really want but you don't have enough stellar jades? Here is a smarter way to recharge your favorite games like Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail. Look no further than Lootbar. Lootbar is the most reliable top-up platform. It saves up to 23% for all orders compared with the official channel, and it provides an 80% off for your first purchase. It's 100% safe as you will only be using your UID. We will buy pack for 30,000 stellar jades for $42, which otherwise would have costed $50, totally saving $7.5. We received the crystals we purchased in the less than 3 minutes. All recharges will be done through the official channel with miHoyo, which allows you to enjoy all top-up offers. Ready to level up your gaming experience? Check the link in the description to get the amazing discount. Alright, as usual, let's start by discussing his base stats. Archer has base HP that is very similar to characters with a similar path, namely Boothill at 1164 points. However, he has a difference of around 100 points with Fei Xiao, who has fewer HP points. Meanwhile, Archer has a very low base speed compared to the two characters mentioned before, at only 105 points. This is quite reasonable, as Archer doesn't need many turns since he can deal lethal damage in just one turn. One thing I need to mention here is that Archer's maximum energy, which is quite high at 220 points. In fact, his energy requirement is the same as the Hertas at the same point. Of course, this high energy requirement can be addressed by his gameplay mechanics, which allow him to use skills repeatedly up to 5 times in a row, so he can get tons of energy by using his ability. However, the downside is that to achieve this, he needs a support character that can provide additional skill points, namely Sparkle, whose ultimate ability can grant a significant number of skill points. Alright, let's discuss his skill first, which is one of his important kits. It's called Cult Bulk 2, Fake Spiral Sword, which requires 2 skill points for each use. Well, the effect of this skill is pretty cool to discuss, guys. Essentially, Archer enters the circuit connection state and attacks one enemy, which can be used up to a total of 5 times. If we calculate it, the maximum number of skill points that we need is 10 skill points. Additionally, the damage caused by this skill continues to increase by 100% up to 2 stacks, meaning the maximum damage is dealt on the 3rd use of this skill. Unfortunately, these 10 skill points can only be easily achieved if you have Sparkle. Of course, you can also use Hanyan, but the requirements are much more difficult to meet compared to using Sparkle. Oh yeah, and one interesting thing about this skill is that it grants 30 energy points each time it's used. So if we use this skill 5 times in a row, then we will get 150 energy per turn, making his ultimate can trigger quickly. Next, we will move on to his ultimate ability, which is featured in several showcase videos, with cool animations that match the series. This ultimate ability is called Unlimited Blade Works. While the explanation for this ultimate ability is fairly straightforward, it delivers immense damage output due to its damage multiplier, which is one of the highest in the game at 1000%. Additionally, it provides 2 charges that can be used to execute a follow-up attack triggered by his talent. Okay guys, next we will move on to his talent called Mind's Eye True. The effect of this talent does not deal as much damage as his skills or ultimate. However, the important thing about this ultimate is the skill point recovery, which will greatly help Archer maximize the use of his skill. From this talent, at its maximum limit, we can get up to 4 skill points for free, which are very helpful for archers' skill point needs, which are very wasteful. We will also discuss archer's technique called Clairvoyance. This technique is quite good as it increases the initial charge when entering battle to 2 when combined with the effect of his second trace. With the addition of charge at the beginning of the battle, we will at least get an additional 1 skill point, which is very useful for managing the use of skill points at the beginning of the battle. Alright, now let's move on to his traces. The stats we get from his minor traces provide an additional 22.4% quantum damage boost, 18% attack, and 6.7 critical rate. These minor traces have a very useful effect because they provide a significant quantum damage boost and attack. Of course, this effect will be useful for increasing the damage output of his kit because he is the main DPS. Meanwhile, the minor traces critical rate obtained is also quite helpful in providing good critical value, so that we can aim for a high critical rate. Because as we know, characters with the hunt path definitely need a very high critical rate so that the attacks they deliver can trigger critical hit. Alright, now we will move on to the first trace named Guardian. Honestly, the effect of this first trace is quite good, as it provides a very big chunk of critical damage increase of 120%. However, with this requirement, we need a teammate who can provide a big number of skill points, such as Sparkle, who in my opinion is one of the essential supports for this. Oh yeah, we also need to pay attention to the number of skill points we have in battle, as this critical damage boost only lasts for 1 turn. But don't worry, this critical damage boost will always be active if, before Archer's turn, we already have at least 4 skill points or using teammates who are efficient with skill points, like Lager or Tribi. As for the second trace named Hero of Justice, it grants 1 charge when Archer enters battle. The effect of this trace is useful for helping Archer obtain additional skill points. Interestingly, if combined with the effect from his technique, you will start the battle with 2 charges, which can be used to fill 2 skill points. For the final trace named Projection Magecraft, honestly, this trace effect is quite good, as you can activate his skill up to 3 times in one go. If this effect is combined with the talent from Sparkle named Red Herring, the maximum number of skill points that can be stored is 9 points. This maximum skill point increase effect will make the skill mechanics even better, allowing us to deal massive damage in one go, guys. And finally, we come to the last part of his kit, which is the Eidolon section. The first Eidolon, called the Unreached Dream, has a very good and crucial effect, especially for reducing the skill point usage of Archer or if you don't have Sparkle. With this Eidolon, Archer can attack 4 times in 1 turn using only 6 skill points. So the total skill points required to execute up to 5 skill attacks is 8 skill points, as 2 skill points are granted for free through this Eidolon. So cool, right? The second Eidolon, named the Unfulfilled Happiness, enhances the damage of his ultimate skill. However, the interesting part is that it can reduce quantum resistance and apply quantum weakness to enemies, allowing Archer to attack enemies without quantum weakness. Additionally, the duration of quantum weakness and quantum resistance reduction applied to the enemy lasts for 2 turns. Since Archer can trigger his ultimate every 2 turns, meaning the skill Archer uses can deal maximum damage even if the enemy does not originally have quantum weakness. Unfortunately, the second Eidolon has a drawback. Its effect can be easily obtained if you have Silver Wolf and use her skill to apply quantum weakness to the enemy, so this effect will become not that worth. As for the fourth Eidolon named the Unsung Life, despite its simple effect, it has a significant impact on damage output, as its ultimate damage is further increased by 150% from its already high multiplier of 1000%. However, the effect of 4th Eidolon only enhances the damage of his ultimate skill and does not provide additional benefits to other skill. As for the final Eidolon, named the Endless Pilgrimage, this Eidolon increases the number of skill points at the start of battle and boosts the damage multiplier from his skill to 3 stacks, resulting in a total 300% damage increase from his skill. Additionally, his skill ignores enemy defense, drastically increasing Archer's damage output. Of course, this effect is quite reasonable since this is the 6th Eidolon, which is generally difficult to obtain. In the next section, we will discuss Archer's signature lightcon called the Hell Where Ideals Burn. Interestingly, we can get this lightcon for free by pulling 200 times using the Star Rail Special Pass in the limited banner or the collaboration banner from the beginning of version 3.4 until the end of version 3.4. Well, the effects of this lightcon are quite interesting and very well suited to Archer's kit, as it provides a critical rate stat that is highly beneficial for characters on the hunt path who require a high critical rate. Additionally, the attack boost can increase up to 40% if the users activate their skill 4 times, and can be maximized in a single instance by Archer himself. Furthermore, since there is no duration for this effect, I concluded that it can last until the battle ends. However, unfortunately, we can only maximize the effect of this lightcon with a few characters. For example, the 40% attack boost effect only activates if the number of skill points in battle is 6 or more, and this effect can only be activated under 2 conditions at present. These are using an Archer, using Sparkle, or using both. As currently in Honkai Star Rail, there are only 2 characters that can increase the maximum skill points obtainable. Alright, as usual, we will move on to discussing Archer's build himself. Archer has several relic sets that we can use. However, for the best set, we can use the 4-piece Genius of Billion Stars, which is a relic set from version 1.0. Although this is a very old relic, it has a very good effect, guys. This relic increases quantum damage by 10% and ignores 10% of the enemy's defense when the user attacks the enemy. If the enemy has a quantum weakness, the user will ignore an additional 10% of defense, bringing the total defense ignored to 20%. With this effect, Archer can deal massive damage to enemies since now they have quantum weakness. However, it's important to note that you should use this relic if the enemy has a quantum weakness, uses Silver Wolf, or has Archer's second Eidolon to maximize the defense ignore effect. For an alternative relic, you can use the 4-piece Scholar Lost in Erudition, which provides an 8% increase in critical rate, a 20% increase in skill and ultimate damage, and an additional 25% skill damage after using the ultimate. This relic can be a good choice if you don't have Genius of Brilliant Stars with good stats. As for the best planar ornament, you can use Rutilin Arena, which increases critical rate by 8% and damage from basic attack and skill if the user has critical rate of 70%. This skill damage boost is highly beneficial for Archer who rely on skill as their primary damage source. Additionally, the critical rate boost is essential for Archer who needing high critical rate to consistently land critical hits. Anyway, this is the recommended stats you can use, guys. Then what about the lightcon suitable for Archer? The main one is his signature lightcon named the Hell Where Ideals Burn, which increases critical rate and attack power to maximize Archer's damage output. Additionally, this lightcon can be obtained for free if you have the savings to perform 200 pulls in version 3.4. However, if you can't obtain his signature lightcon, you can use the lightcon named Cruising in the Stellar Sea, which can be obtained for free through their task shop. This lightcon provides a significant boost to critical rate and attack, which is highly beneficial for most DPS characters with the hunt path, including Archer himself. Finally, we come to the last part of this video, which is about teammates that are compatible with Archer. As you know, Archer is a hunt character with unique skill mechanics, where he uses a lot of skill points to maximize the number of skills he can use. The first character that pairs exceptionally well with Archer is none other than Sparkle. Sparkle is a support character who can provide numerous buffs through her skills and ultimate ability. She can increase critical damage, damage output, and attack power if her teammates are quantum, provide a 50% boost to advanced action, and most importantly, recharge 4 skill points through her ultimate ability. Additionally, through Sparkle's talent, she can increase the team's maximum skill points by 2, which can be extremely useful for Archer in maximizing the damage dealt. The next character that pairs well with Archer is Cypher. Cypher's talent can record damage dealt to targets with the Patron debuff. Given the massive damage from Archer's skills, combined with the ability to unleash up to 5 attacks, the damage recorded by Cypher will be significant in a short time. This makes Cypher an ideal finisher for bosses with high HP, as the damage from Cypher's talent is true damage with a fixed amount. The next character is Cerydra. Yes, the character set to release in the upcoming version is also rumored to be highly compatible with Archer as one of the best supports. Cerydra can provide additional critical damage and attack power, which are highly beneficial for Archer. Additionally, Cerydra can duplicate skill activation, which is highly useful for increasing the number of attacks that Archer can generate through his skill. For the last character that pairs well with Archer if you don't have Sparkle, it's Hanya. As I mentioned earlier, Hanya can be an alternative you can use if you don't have Sparkle, as she can also provide additional skill points through her skills. However, keep in mind that you need certain conditions and techniques to use Hanya effectively so your team can deal maximum damage, and it won't be as effective as using Sparkle. Alright guys, that's all for now. What do you think about Archer in version 3.4? Feel free to leave any comments down below, and don't forget to check out my other videos because they are just as cool. Thanks for watching, stay safe, stay healthy, and see you in the next video.